Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joseph Gbandi, International Law. The topic I have is State Response to Cyber War, a Challenge in 21st Century State Security and International Law. When cybersecurity is mentioned, we quickly reflect on technology, its needs, and its associated challenges. Sometimes we believe that individual laptops and companies face cyber attacks. It is interesting to note that states are equally victims of cyber attacks. Sometimes when we talk about cyber attack, we always want to find out if interstate cyber attack can be considered as war. So we try to kind of associate these two notions, war and cyber attack. There has been different understanding of what war is, and the same thing applies to what cyber attack is. War can be understood as armed combat between two or more countries, societies, groups, military, or sovereign government that has extreme violent outcomes, according to Ognell 2005. Interstate cyber attack is a form of technological operation of a country against another that has potential to affect businesses, government infrastructure, and other important facilities that threatens national security. Kaplan 2020 and Taliham 2013 have all observed these kind of problems. So this leads me to the problem of my research. So classifying cyber attack as a war continue to be a challenge because those attacks do not involve physical arms and military combat. When you look at the cyber attacks that have happened in the United States, in Ukraine, in France, and in the UK, it's difficult for you to just declare them as war. So also kind of the justification of what war is and what at what point war is lawful or not continue to make cyber attack unclear as to whether it is war or not, and so countries take advantage of it to kind of initiate attacks on other countries or other states. The UN Charter has some information on what a lawful war is and what a unlawful war is. And Brunei and Tope 2018 have both observed this similar phenomena. So the purpose of my research is kind of explore the laws, international laws or domestic laws on cyber war or cyber attack in this modern era, and also analyze the use of information technology and other sophisticated technologies to fight conventional war. Had 2017 has kind of have similar positions on what is going on, what we are talking about. So this brings me to kind of a research question and a thesis statement. So I have an overarching question that is, does interstate cyber attack constitute a war? How does state respond to cyber attacks? What is the role of international law on interstate cyber attacks in a modern global world? So based on these questions, this paper argues that though conceptualizing cyber attack as war has been debated among scholars, states have states have based on the self-defense notion in international law to engage in cyber attacks against other states. And since the cyber space is an intangible space, meaning it is a space that you cannot see, state deliberately or otherwise engage in cyber attacks against potential adversaries out of fear or uncertainty. So we then come to look at some, I mean, legalities or legal principles that explain lawful and unlawful war. So we first of all look at it from the international law position on war, where we have explanations on the UN Charter 51 about what is lawful war and what it is not, especially in the 1945 charter. And we also have the same charter, the Article 2.4, also explaining when can states engage in war. Then when we come to cyber attack, we realize that cyber attack in recent time is considered war. Kaplan 205 has observed it. Head 2017 has also observed it, and then the United Nations Charter we just talked about has also seen the same thing, that cyber attacks are now considered war, looking at its challenges. And so in this research, I focus on two of these attacks, which is the 2019 solar wind attack or hack on the United States, and then the 2019-2020 election in Ukraine, which both cases are purportedly to have been initiated by Russia. And so we look at what the implications of these two things, these two, occurrences. It kind of undermines state security and also poses threat on democracy when you look at election being the backbone of democracy, and now election is being interfered by another country. It is very serious to talk about this or to discuss this or to see this as, an interference on the whole democracy of Ukraine. That is why this becomes an important, tool that states are using in recent times as well. So then we come and see how states respond to these type of attacks, cyber attacks, as to will they need approval to engage in cyber attacks, or they will still based on self-defense. Of course, every state will not ignore the self-defense principle embedded in the laws. They will all, attack and claim that it is by self-defense. So state also will make calculations to see the cost and benefit of retaliating a specific cyber attack, and that is what we observe in the United States when they had the solar wind hack. So now we look at the legal framework and the current position of states on cyber attack, especially after the 9/11. So realize that in the UN consistently working hard to incorporate cyber attacks into what constitute war, and most of the literature that we have reviewed or have reviewed will show this. And also states like the United States and others have taken cybersecurity or cyber attacks so seriously, especially after the 9/11, as I mentioned. Non-state organizations, multinational organizations such as the European Union, ECOWAS, and others have also initiated a series of policies to kind of combat, cyber attacks. So when you look at this data, you realize that so many states are doing well. Singapore, the United States, Oman, they are all doing well. As shown here, you see some of them, including the United States, having almost 100% legal, principles, kind of controlling its cyberspace, trying to, kind of make its cyberspace a little bit sophisticated. And this data is picked from International Telecommunication Union 2007, and it is called Global Security Index that can be accessed online for free. So I would have some recommendations to make when it comes to uh, these attacks. So one of them is to redefine war to include emotions and cyber attacks in the international law, and also redefine the laws that justifies lawful and unlawful war. If those laws, some of them are justified and some are not, then that brings a lot of problems. And also states that engage in these cyber attacks need to be sanctioned severely to prevent other states or to deter state from doing them. These are my references. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I mean, I wish to hear questions and contributions from you. Thank you.